What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So in this video, I want to talk about Terry Crews and his response to, Gabrielle Union's situation with America's Got Talent. And I have a video that I did a little while ago that sort of deals a little bit with this topic, about um, black men, black women, and black men protecting black women, that sort of a thing. And I'll leave a link to that video in the description box. But I do want to talk about this situation with Terry Crews and Gabrielle Union. And, many people, especially black women, were disappointed in Terry Crews's lack of support for Gabrielle Union in her situation with America's Got Talent. And apparently her contract was not renewed, rather, because she was very vocal about issues and that were happening behind the scenes, and accusations of discrimination, those sort of things. And Terry Crews, he was asked about this in an interview, and he basically didn't support Gabrielle Union. And I think it is even more of an issue because Gabrielle Union supported Terry Crews in his situation when he wanted to join the Me Too movement and come forth and talk about being I guess technically sexually assaulted by a white cave beast in some sort of casting agency room or whatever. Y'all remember that. Apparently some, white cave beast who was in the position to cast Terry Crews for a role or whatever or whatnot, grabbed, just straight up, grabbed, Terry Crews's dick and balls. Well, pretty much he was just grabbing dick because, Terry Crews ain't got no balls to grab. Y'all know that. Ain't no balls down there. But, yeah, so that situation happened. And Terry Crews, his wife told him basically to not attack the cave beast who sexually assaulted him. Yeah. Because basically it was in his career, and his wife knows that once his career ends, then that meal ticket is gone, the bag is no longer secure, and she's at the age now where it's like she can't move on to the next the next bag so easily when it comes to men, right? His wife, well, I ain't gonna go there, but I ain't gonna go there. But so yeah, that situation happened, and Gabrielle Union, she didn't know all the details, but she did support him, as did many black women. However, black men, on the other hand, were not supporting Terry Crews. Black men were pretty much either clowning Terry Crews or either just not speaking on it at all, right? And one of the men who, was clowning Terry Crews was, Down Low Hughley, and he said something, well, I don't know what he said, really. But he was making fun of him, and then Terry Crews responded saying that basically he was going to punch Down Low Hughley. And then folks were like, well, why didn't you have this same energy for, the dude, the white man who was, grabbing your dick? And that's a good question. You quicker to jump up against, a black man, who's essentially making fun of you versus a white man who essentially, sexually violated you. You know, what's up with that, right? Really, I think both people deserve, a beat down. You know, he could go after both folks. Go after the white man first, and then go after down low Hughley after, right? But Terry, he know what's up though. And also, really, that's like a really bold thing to do. You know, you know, especially, you know, Terry Crews, kind of like big, tall, muscular, and he felt very comfortable and grabbing him by the dick. And I guess his suspicions were right, and also he did it in front of his wife too. That is even more bold, right? But yeah, but that's another video. So for me, I think that Terry Crews needs to be careful in a situation like this because he could very well be singing Gabrielle Union's song in, you know, the next few months or so. He doesn't know that. He could, you know. And, I didn't know that Terry Crews was now the host of America's Got Talent. So, congratulations to him for getting a gig like that. But unfortunately, I don't think I can have much fanfare for you considering the situation, with Gabrielle Union and you not supporting her. And I think, for black women, I think, black women were taken aback by that as well because, one, for the support, and also, um, Terry thanked black women for the support. And as well, Terry Crews went on to double down. He said that his wife is the only woman he needs to protect, basically, and advocate for, I guess. And every other woman in his family, that ain't his responsibility. Whether it's his mom, his sister, daughter, granddaughter, aunt, grandma, whatever, whoever. It ain't his responsibility. It's their men's responsibility to do that. But the thing is, though, what if your mom, sister, daughter, aunt, grandma, whoever, what if they don't have a man to do that for them? Like in a romantic sense, at least. What if they're single? Does that mean that they're not worthy of protection at that point because, they just can't get a man or keep a man? Are they no longer worthy to be protected at all? That's something to think about. And as well, like Terry Crews, you can't be with your wife every moment of the day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. What if somebody took took that same mentality when it came to your wife when, she may have ended up in a bad situation and needed someone to step in and help her. So you have to be sort of careful about things like that. And as well, like I said previously, you have to be careful about, Terry Crews, he needs to be careful because, again, he could be singing the same song that Gabrielle Union is singing in a few months, And then you going to probably want folks to support you, right? You don't want people to come out and advocate for you and hold you down when you need somebody to support you. But I'm sure some black woman, some lost, confused black woman, very much on the Mammy Pick Me Mule pilgrimage will support. But even then, I think like usually the Mammy Pick Me Mules who be supporting black dudes for little or nothing, I even think they're a bit kind of taken aback. you know? Low key Amanda Seales, right? Like Amanda Seales, like she came through and kind of spoke on some things on the real, I think she's a good addition to the reel thus far, based on what I've been hearing her speak about. And she hasn't been throwing Lonnie under the bus, at least not publicly. So that's cool too. And she's been supporting Lonnie, and whatnot. And really trying to speak the real. But I do know that when it comes to some black women, not all, but some, especially the black women who tend to be on the mammy pick me mule side of things, I know that sometimes they can be like when black men throw them crumbs, it's very much Thanksgiving dinner for them. That's how they think take it, right? It's like they get full off of crumbs, like a little of nothing will fill them up. And that's sort of like the thing that I'm a bit worried about, where it's like, well, these women will, either these black men will throw a couple of crumbs at them, and then it'll be back to business as usual, basically. But we shall see, right? We shall see. Um, um, but when it comes to Terry Crews and black men, one black man that kind of came through, like when Terry Crews came out about the Me Too situation he had, 50 Cent had came out and basically was clowning him too. And 50 Cent has a right to his opinion and all. Um, but I also remember 50 Cent going after Oprah when news came out about Oprah doing or being a part of a documentary about Russell Simmons and his situation when it um, his sexual misconduct situation, right? And he was basically going at or calling out Oprah, saying that it seemed like she's going after black men, which he has a right to do. He has a right to advocate for himself and his collective, definitely. But I didn't see him with the same energy when Gabrielle Union kind of needed some support. He could have tweeted a little something like, "Hey, sis, we down for you. We're here for you. We support you. You know, it's messed up what they doing to you. You know, I'm here for you, etc." Something. But it was all quiet on the Western Front when it came to that, though. When it came to 50 Cent, right? And the thing is, people speak out on things that matter to them. People speak out on things that trigger them, right? And that's just something to think about here. 50 Cent, he can make all the jokes, at black women's expense, but you can't come through when, a black woman may need some support. And that's just something to think about too. And then I'm sure somebody would come through and say, not all, not all. And that's right, it's not all. But it's still something that needs to be addressed and called out. And as well, I think that black women need to be sort of called out as well when it comes to supporting folks that don't support them, particularly black men who don't support them. That's something that black women have to call each other out about. Because it's one thing, well, I'll put it like this. You shouldn't support that which does not support you, right? And a lot of black women seem to be, very much supportive of black men, but it doesn't seem like it's being reciprocated as much. And, I think some black women seem to be sort of catching on to that pattern. Other black women, very much are saying, not all of them. That could be my son. That could be my husband. That could be my baby daddy. That could be my real daddy. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but every black man is not your, your husband, your brother, your daddy, your son. And that's the thing too, where it's like I don't think black men are really looking at it like that when it comes to black women. Like, that could be my mama, that could be my sister, that could be my daughter. I don't, not as much. You don't really tend to see that as much. Not to say that there's no black man that doesn't see his mom, daughter, sister, auntie, grandma, etc. in other black women, because I know that they are out there. All right. Yes, they are out there. All right. Black kings are out there. All right. Um, but it's something to think about though, right? And also another thing to take into account is where were these, non-black women at who, love black men so much, right? You know, because some of these black men love to come through and talk about how they the most desirable men on the planet. You know, in the universe, ain't no man more desirable than the black man, the black king, baby. Every woman across the planet, across the universe, wants to get a piece of the big black chocolate thunder stick, baby. Right? You always hear some shit like that, right? But it's like, well, where were these non-black women who love the the big black chocolate thunder stick at when it came to Terry Crews and him needing support when his, during his like Me Too movement situation? I only saw black women coming through there. I didn't see non-black women coming through there all that much. I think there may have been, some sprinkles here and there, but largely it came from black women, though, right? Yeah. Honestly, this is a bit of a sidebar here, but when Terry Crews first spoke about the Me Too thing, his situation, I really thought he was talking about like some perhaps maybe white woman being a bit too touchy feely with him, or maybe saying, if you want this part, Terry, you know what white mama like. She wanted some of the big black chocolate thunder, right? She wanted nigga dick. But it was not the case. It was white daddy wanting yeah. But yeah. So like, oh, really honestly, I know I'm going to catch some flack for saying this, but I really think that probably should have been an L that Terry Crews just took in silence. Something that, happened to you, but you just never speak about that again. Like, this is, just something you just gonna take to your grave, right? Unless his wife wanted to write a tell-all book about it, or something, like, oh, you divorced me, and let me tell, let me tell how you was getting, groped and molested by a white man in the on a casting agency, right? But yeah, non-black women weren't really coming through. Exoticals, were not coming through either. Black women were, right? Um, so yeah, and Terry Crews' wife, based on her response to the situation with Gabrielle Union, she didn't seem to show any solidarity with, black women or women in general. And Terry Crews' wife is biracial. She's mixed, like part black, part white, right? But no, there was no, black woman solidarity there, right? It was about Terry Crews' wife having solidarity with securing the bag. She's like, that's where her solidarity is at, all right? But despite that, I'm sure some black women gonna come through and talk about how it ain't all of them, and it's true, and how oh, you just can't, you can't throw away the black king like that. The black king, he ain't the black king though. He ain't. That was only one of them, not all of them. I'll never forsake the black king, no, no. I will never ever abandon the black king. No, 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 no. Ooh. But then again, there probably will be some black women who be coming through and be all like, Black King, I had to lose you to love me. To love, to love, to love, to love, to love. I needed the hate by Black King to love me. To love, to love, to love, to love, to love. I had to find white daddy to find me. Black King, you promised the world and I fell for it. Mm. But white daddy actually delivered and I adore it. Yes, white daddy. He ain't set fire to my forest. Mm. So yeah, y'all know how that go. So yeah, I think I've said pretty much all I need to say about this situation. I'll speak on a couple of other situations right quick that are unrelated. And that is a situation that happened with Daniel Kaluuya. You know, the actor who starred in the movie Get Out and The Black Panther, and most recently um, Queen and Slim. Well, he came through and he said something very interesting. A few things very interesting, actually, and a bit shocking. Well, not shocking, but a bit like, right? So Daniel Kaluuya, he said in the interview, quote unquote, I'm not going to ignore that I'm surrounded by race issues, but I'm not defined by it. I'm just Daniel, who happens to be black. Hmm. What is there to talk about race? It's just boring to me. What's the debate? I'm more of a doer. I'm just going to do what I want to do. The Fades ain't about race. Cycleville ain't about race. Skins ain't about race. I think these are movies. Chat Room ain't about race. Johnny English Reborn ain't about race. But that almost gets erased. There's a narrative that is pushed. Yeah, yes, it's got those moments about race, but more of a catalyst. And I think he said that comment in regards to his movie Queen and Slim. But yeah, these are some comments that Danny Kaluuya made in an interview, and I just find that to be really interesting that he's, talking about it ain't about race, it ain't about race, but really your career popped off because you played in a part about race. The movie Get Out was a race-based movie. Queen and Slim is a race-based movie. You know, And I find this to be, really interesting talk. And I feel like if Jodie Turner Smith, who, the woman who played Queen in the movie, was saying this, we definitely would be, dragging her down the street, stomping her in the ground and spitting on her, right? Especially because she with, Pacey from Dawson's Creek, right? She was the bad witch that stole these niggas Christmas. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that news came out just before Christmas, right? And Jodie Turner Smith just had to be the bad wench that stole these niggas Christmas. God damn it, Jodie. I thought you were a black queen, Jodie. I thought you was down for the black kings. I thought you wanted a black king by your side, Jodie. But no. She just wanna be a bed wench. Alright. She just wanna be Pacey's bed wench. I ain't gonna support no movie that Jodie Turner Smith is in ever again. Alright. Cause she just wants to bend over and bust it open for white daddy Pacey. and I can't support that. Right. Meanwhile, when black women be speaking that shit, like it's just a movie, right? You know, they're not obligated to date you. And at the end of the day, those things are valid, but you know that shit, all that preference shit, and it's a movie shit, and folks ain't obligated shit goes straight out the window when it's you feeling hit to your side, bam, bam, right? You know. But on one hand, I can't understand Daniel Kaluuya perhaps not wanting to be pigeonholed into, strictly race-based movies. I can understand that, where it's like, well, he doesn't want to just only do race-based movies, and he wants to have like a wide range, and whatnot. I can understand that aspect of it, but you have to be careful about how you phrase things, especially like this, because this is a sensitive subject for a lot of people, right? Especially when people are supporting you, right? And word on the street, he was dating like some exotical, but now he has a white woman. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure somebody out there knows. If so, let me know in the comment section. But I remember him speaking about something like back in like 2017, I believe, Daniel Kaluuya was quoted as saying, "I resent that I have to prove I'm black." And I think this was in response to him being like a non-African American actor in Hollywood, right? And perhaps being in sort of like black situations, perhaps. So I remember him speaking on that. And as well, even speaking on some of his experiences that he's had with race in his life, right? And let's see if I can find something that he said that really stuck out to me. People say, "You're too black." Then I come to America and then they say, "You're not black enough." I go to Uganda. I can't speak the language. In India, I'm black. In the black community, I'm dark skinned. In America, I'm British. Right? So he's sort of speaking about, you know, being in situations where he just doesn't seem like he's enough at times, right? Where it's like it's always something, an issue, right? And that's something that is valid, but now it's like 2 years later, basically, or 2 to 3 years later, it's like, you know, oh, race is a non-factor. Race doesn't mean much. What is race really? Right? Now, you done got you a little taste of the, you know, Hollywood limelight and all that shit. And now it's like, folks sometimes want to just throw the black identity away once they get to a certain point, you know, and you have to be careful about that. Because right now, I don't really see it for Daniel Kaluuya as far as being like a crossover actor, so to speak. I don't really see him going the route of like at least not at this point, of like a Denzel Washington or a Will Smith, um, uh, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Vin Diesel, like, heck, even not even like an Idris Elba type of thing, you know. Again, I don't see that at this time for you, Daniel. No shade. Just, you might want to just be careful there, and you might want to do a little backtracking if you're smart enough there. Um, but yeah. And that's why I think he had mentioned something at one point about being, I think, going through some sort of like racist situations where, people treating him differently because he's black or something like that. Which, those are valid things to speak on, and, valid complaints and valid things to talk about. But yeah, I just find it really interesting now. Like, 2 to 3 years later, now this is your story, and this is what you got to say now. One more thing I want to mention before I go is some situation that happened with like a college student who happened to be black and a college professor who happened to be white, and like a black student was in the class, and apparently in this college classroom they have assigned seating, which is something that I've never heard of as a college student before. Assigned seating in a college classroom, but apparently they do. And a student who happened to be black was not in his assigned seat because he wanted to use the outlet that was near the seat he was in to charge his laptop. The white professor didn't notice until toward the end of the class that he was not in his seat that was assigned to him. The professor said, you need to get into your assigned seat. The black student did not want to because he wanted to charge his laptop. And then the college professor threatened either getting your assigned seat or he's going to call the police. And he wound up calling the police. And I think the black student had just left the classroom at that point, but the police had caught up to him later on campus and spoke about it. I don't think they arrested him or anything, but that's just something to think about, though. Really, I'm like, the police for a situation like this, personally, I think even campus security was probably be a bit much, but I think this situation probably should have been handled by campus security versus the police. I think the police have more serious problems to deal with. And as well, this could have been a situation that could have been ended up in some, on a Black Lives Matter protest, god damn it. But, for the black women out there, I guess you guys probably should be asking, like, okay, is this black student with a black woman? Right? You got to do your due diligence and start, vetting and doing research before you throw in support, right? But I just wanted to speak about that for a moment. But that's all I got to say for the time being. So thank you very much, you guys. And feel free to comment. Feel free to let me know what you think in the comment section. And until the next video, adios and goodbye for now. Peace. Oh yeah, Terry Crews had also supported Gina Rodriguez during that whole Black Panther situation where she was talking about where are the Latinas at in the Black Panther, right? And he had supported her over the black women in that situation too. So really, this is like, low key, just an unraveling at this point, just slowly unraveling, right? But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So thank you for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment and let me know what you think in the comment section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now. To love, to love, to love, to love, to love. I had to hate my black king to love me. Black king set fire to my forest and he let it burn. Black king sang off key in my chorus because it wasn't his. Yeah. We always jumped into it blindly. I needed to lose the black king to find me. This dancing is killing us softly. I needed to lose the black king to find me. To love, to love, to love, to love, to love. I needed to hate the black king to love me. To love me. I had to find white daddy to find me. And now the chapter is closing. Black king, you are not open. Yeah. But thanks for watching.